Hey guys, it's Caitlin and welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, I'm going to be doing a flip through of my book journal from 2024 to 2025. So obviously the 2024 spreads are now complete since it is the new year. Happy New Year, guys. And the 2025 ones are just blank setups. So I'll show you kind of how I'm going to be carrying on with my reading journal in this new year. Doing this journal is definitely a huge hobby of mine. I love sitting down every month and filling out my spreads. I know everybody who does a reading journal does it a little bit differently. Some people make a spread for every single book they read. I kind of do it based on months. So like I'll have like January, February, etc. But then I'll also have spreads of books that I loved in between those months, and then also like general year spreads that I fill out at the end of every month. You'll see. I feel like I don't need to over explain it. I've done videos like this on TikTok before. You can go follow me there, but I've never done a full-length sit-down YouTube video. So I think this should be fun. This is my reading journal. We're going to be taking a look through her. It's very full. Let's dive right in to the journal. Alright guys, so this is my book journal. It's just a standard bullet journal from Staples that I got last year, obviously in the color black. It has this nice little like elastic that can keep the book shut, and then it also has two little bookmarks that are attached to it. And since it was just plain black, I decided to spice it up by decorating the front a little bit with some stickers. So first I just have this book sticker with some flowers coming out of it. Hell is the Journey, but it brought me heaven by Taylor Swift. That's a lyric. And then another Taylor Swift lyric from Folklore, Love You to the Moon and to Saturn. Then we have Cross Your Heart, Won't Tell No Other. Another quote from Folklore. Can you guys tell it's my favorite album? I also have this little plant sticker that's kind of been coming off for a little while. I might replace it. An I Heart Reading one because I thought that was appropriate because, you know, it's a reading journal. Yes, I got your letter. Yes, I'm doing better. From the song. Oh, it's actually from Closure. So it's from Evermore, not Folklore. And then we have Drink Good Coffee, Read Good Books in this little book stack, and that is me in a sticker. So that is the front. I don't have anything on the back because like I don't really know why I would. No one's gonna see the back. So as I said, this is gonna be a flip through of 2024 to 2025. So some of the spreads that you're seeing at the beginning of this video are older. I set these up like a year ago. So let's open her up. This is the title front page. So on this side, there's like a little thing. I guess you're supposed to put your name, but I put my name here, so I don't know. And then a little pocket, which I put a stencil. You'll see what this is used for later. It kind of looks like a ghost, which is kind of on par with what it is supposed to be, but it's not a ghost. You'll see. Then this side, I kind of have a theme for my journal, but at the same time, not really. Like, it's chill. Not every spread looks like it falls under one theme, but when I started it off and kind of going into this year, I kind of want it to be like a vintage theme. We just have so much supplies that fit this aesthetic, and I kind of want to use that supplies. By that, I mean like stickers, scrap paper, brown, monochromatic, aesthetic color scheme, but as I said, I don't follow it super strictly, but this is just the title page. It says Kate's Reading Journal in this fun font. I cut out some letters, got a little old book page here, and it's just kind of the title page so that you know what you're getting into when you open this. This first page is my 2024 Best Book of the Year bracket. I have done a spread like this every year since I started doing this, which was probably in like 2021, 2022 maybe. And then over here I messed up. It was supposed to say 2024 reading goals. I accidentally wrote 2023. You know when you get into a new year and you always write the wrong date on your paper? That kind of happened here. I kind of want to lay this flat and film from above. Alright, I think we found a setup that works a little bit better, so hopefully this is good. But anyways, back to what I was saying. This side is my 2024 Best Book of the Year bracket. So basically how this works is I set it up like in groups of 2. So there's like 6 groups of 2, each one representing a month, and each month I write down my favorite book that I read that month, and then it keeps going out, branching off into different brackets to compete against each other until we get 3, and then that eventually turns into 1 to determine my favorite book of the year. But at the same time, this isn't the best method to determine that, because there could be one month where I read like 3 really great books, and then one month where I read like 5 books that I don't love so much. So that doesn't necessarily mean the one that I pick for the bad month is better than the good ones I read in the good month. So it's just kind of a fun little spread that I do. I don't take it too seriously. It did determine my favorite book accurately. Powerless, that's my favorite book I read this year, but some of the ones on here didn't make my top 10 of the year, so it's just kind of for fun. This side is my reading goals. So as you can see, I reached most of them. I did not read 90 books. That was a little ambitious. I was busy this year. I did finish a lot of series that I was in the middle of. I read some more LGBTQ plus stories. I did not read 3 nonfiction or classics for fun. I did read them for school, but I felt like that was cheating if I checked it off because I didn't read them for fun. I read more books with main characters that are people of color. I focused on my physical TBR, sort of. I obviously did not only buy 3 books a month. That is ridiculous. How could I do that? I did post a viral book talk video. I actually did a couple, so I was really proud of that. I read more ebooks. I reread favorite series, and I did not read 4 to 10 books each month. One month I read 3. So that was close though. Okay, this is my Goodreads goal, which I somehow messed up as well. Originally was 90. I changed it to 80, but I didn't meet either of those. But either way, I wrote 91. Why would I make my goal an odd number? It's because I accidentally added an extra box here. So yeah, try not to notice that, but now that's all you're gonna notice. But yeah, basically every time I finished a book, I fill out a little bubble. Did pink this year too, or last year. Okay, 24 books to read in 2024. Oh gosh, I failed miserably at this. I read, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of 24 books. That's horrible. I mean, the spread came out cute. I did a little light blue theme, but I barely read any of these. Oh my gosh. I hope I do better on my 25 books to read in 2025. This is my anticipated releases calendar. I always do this spread as well because I just like having a physical place to keep track of when all my new releases are coming out. So each month I just write the title of the book, the author, and the date that it's set to come out. Sometimes those dates are tentative and they don't actually come out that day, but it gives a general time of when I could be expecting The Teacher by Frida McFadden. I hated that book. Or The Reappearance of Rachel Price. So, some new releases, last year. I also sometimes put shows. Like, let me see if I can find an example. There was one at the beginning. I just missed it. Oh, like Young Royals Season 3. I put the dates for that because it's like one of my favorite shows. But yeah, sometimes I kind of fall off at the end of the year. Like, I definitely could have put some Christmas books in December that were coming out, but I didn't. This was my series tracker for 2024. So these were all the series I either started or wanted to read. Okay, this is, I don't know why this one's blank. I think it was for if I had to put more series, but that did not happen clearly. But this is my how many books read per month spread. So I just kind of do little like bar graph almost, and like it correlates to the side. I don't know. You can figure it out. Ooh. Now the camera's out of focus. That's great. Basically just a bar graph so I can visually see how many books I read each month. But I didn't really like this system, and it just kind of annoys me because one of them I outlined in Sharpie and the rest I outlined in pen, and also that happened, so I don't really like this spread. This is my star rating system, so I kind of wrote down like what each star rating means to me personally. And this is my reading log. It continues over a few different pages, but they're all structured the same. So I put the first column with the title, and then this second column, the date I finished it, and then the last column with my star ratings, which is kind of why I put the star ratings next to it. So if I ever needed like, ooh, should I give this book a 3.5 or a 4, and like read those and be like, okay, I think it fits more with a 3.5, or I think it fits more with a 4. So I write down all this information every time I finish a book, which is really fun. Here's some more. You can pause if you want to read, but you don't have to. And then last one, didn't finish all the way, but yeah. Oh, this is my DNF graveyard. I only DNF 3 books this year. That's crazy. I thought I did a lot more, but I saw this on Pinterest actually. I did this like bloody font, and then each one is a grave, which if you remember in here, that little thing, this was actually my grave stencil. I thought I would have to use it more, and then I left this blank unless I needed to do more, except I would have had to put a piece of paper because the Sharpie bled through. Yeah, that's the struggle of using Sharpies in your journal. This is my haul. So every month when I bought a book, I wrote it down, and guys, this is why I have no room for any more books, because these are all the books I bought this year, or last year. I made some boxes bigger than others, such as August, which is my birthday month, and December, which is Christmas. So like I knew I would be getting some as gifts, but yeah, even the months that don't have any excuse, such as like November or April, like what the heck. But I mean, a lot of the books I get thrifted, so it's fine. Alright, next page. This is my Kindle TBR. These are all books that I got for free on Kindle. I didn't read a single one. But see, this is what I mean. I kind of did like the little vintage brown tan aesthetic. Like these stickers and like the paper are kind of giving vintage, so I kind of stick with the aesthetic, but at the same time I kind of venture out into like more colorful things, such as this page. So this is our authors to read in 2024. Again, I am a failure. I barely read any of these books, but you know, this can honestly be one that I can carry on into next year. Like, even though it says 2024, like if I end up reading The Twin by Natasha Preston this year, I can color it in. Oh, and I also have these plant stickers. Anytime I do a bookshelf spread, I love using these plant stickers. They're from Amazon. Okay, now we get into my monthly spreads. As I said, there are a lot of spreads in between. Instead of, like, I know some people will count out like the amount of pages they need, which is like, I guess 12 or 24 depending on if you do 2 separate pages, and leave those blank because they know they'll put January, February, March, whatever. I personally don't do it like that. Like, I don't count out the pages I need because I like to intermix spreads that I come up with throughout the year and know when I did. So if I came up with a spread in January, you'll know that it was in January because it's in the January section. I don't know if that makes sense. I think you'll see as we go on, but anyways, each month I do a specific theme. Usually it revolves kind of around that season or what I'm obsessed with, like my hyperfixation of the month. January, I kind of went based off the season because it's winter. So I did the snow scene from Heartstopper. It's an iconic scene in season 1 of the show, and it's also featured in the comic books. So like I put this picture here and then a little collage of Nick and Charlie in that scene with the Heartstopper font. That's something I also like to do. Like if it's from a show, I find that font generator online and then write all my stuff. So I always keep the left side as my TBR side that I do at the beginning of the month, and then the wrap up that I do at the end of the month. This was my TBR. I highlight with like a color that correlates to it, put some pictures, put some little Heartstopper leaves, and then these were my stats. So I'm kind of going to flip through these quickly because if you want, you can pause to read if you really care, but you don't have to if you don't want to. And then, okay, this is a good example of what I was saying. So I did a Percy Jackson TV show spread because the show came out in January and I watched it in January. So rather than doing this at the end of the monthly spreads, like after December, I did it within January because that's when I made this spread. So I kind of, looking back, I'm like, oh yeah, I did this last January. Right? A little review / just like my thoughts. I put a bunch of pictures and stickers. I kind of just rated like the cast, scenery, adaptation quality, plot, characters, and my favorite episodes. I just kind of did that for fun. I love Percy Jackson. I can't wait for season 2. Okay, and then February, I did kind of like a pink princess coquette aesthetic vibe. So like this one was kind of a random theme. Like there wasn't a specific reason I did it in February. Just I think kind of like Valentine's Day. I don't know. I really like this theme. Like I used pink sticky notes and a pink highlighter. These princess girly pictures. I don't know. I really like how it came out. And also within my wrap-up side, as I said, I put the stats, but I also put my favorite book that I read that month, which that was when I read Powerless, my favorite book of the year, actually. I guess I read Caraval in February. See, like, this is reminding me because I did it in February. So basically, whenever I read a book or series that I love and it has like a fun, cool aesthetic and a lot of fan art, I like to make these spreads. So here's one that I made for Caraval. I put the book covers, I put a bunch of fan art, stickers, and then again I write my thoughts. Okay. And then we have March, which I'm kind of disappointed with how this spread turned out. This was when Young Royals season 3 came out, so I did a Young Royals theme, which it's nothing against that. It's just how I executed it. Like, I just don't really like how they're all spread out. Like, I wish I did a collage, and then I don't know, I couldn't find the Young Royals font, so I did that, and it looks really bad. I just don't like how this turned out at all, but I do like this quote from Young Royals. And then I didn't even have a favorite book. How sad. March does not look like it was a great reading month. April, I was obsessed with Criminal Minds, still am, but I was rewatching it then, so yeah. Oh, sneak peek of May. But yeah, then I put another picture of them there. TBR, wrap up. May was when Tortured Poets Department came out, so of course I had to do that as my theme. This is, I don't know if to say it's my favorite, but I think it might be my favorite. Either this one or the pink one from February, but I think this one might be my favorite. I really like how this turned out, and then same thing here. My stats, everything. Then I did a little summer TBR because it was about to be summer, so I made a little collage and then wrote up summer TBR and all my books that I hope to read in summer. I didn't really check off if I read them, but I did read A Girl Abroad, Beach Read, 7 Days in June, Out of the Blue, Once Upon a Broken Heart, and Call Me by Your Name. For June, I did I thought this was so creative, but looking back, it's kind of dumb. So June was when Gracie Abrams released The Secret of Us, and I thought instead of writing out June in big letters, I would screenshot her Instagram and highlight it, but I feel like now it just looks like the title is actually invested, because that's a lyric. I don't know, I thought I was being creative. Yeah, I kind of like how it turned out, but yeah, that was June. July, I was in my Vampire Diaries era, so that's how it came out. I love the little blood font. I love doing that font. It's so fun. And then there's the TBR, the wrap-up, stats, favorite book. August is when I turned 17, so I did a little 17th birthday spread for the theme. So like TBR, wrap-up, everything. I don't know, I found a bunch of pink party birthday 17 pictures on Pinterest, and I just rolled with it. And then this is when I read Reckless, so I did a spread of Powerless and Reckless. I just wrote Powerless, but it's a spread for both of them. Pictures, quotes, my thoughts, everything. Okay, this is my fall TBR/watch list. I did this last year, like the year before, 2023, so I guess technically 2 years ago. That's insane. So this side I put my TBR, and then this side I put shows and movies I wanted to watch. I just love fall, honestly, like it's my favorite season ever. And then we have September. This is the aesthetic I was talking about again, vintage. I guess I didn't really have a show I was watching in September, or like anything exciting happening, albums coming out, so I just went with a basic vintage theme. And then here's how the TBR and wrap up went. October, I did a Scream theme because October is when Halloween is. When you think Halloween, horror movie, Scream, that's my favorite one. The Scream font. This is another favorite. November is when the last part of season 4 of Outer Banks came out. We all know how that went, but you know, beforehand I was excited. So we have Outer Banks font, a bunch of pictures of them for November. I don't know why I decided to do it sideways, but I did the stats sideways. That's also when I read Once Upon a Broken Heart by Stephanie Garber. So again, we have some quotes, pictures, the book covers. These are my favorite editions, but I don't have them. This was my winter TBR. I'm not gonna lie, I don't like how this spread turned out. Like, I don't like the blue construction paper. I'm not vibing with the stickers. I just don't really like this spread. But then we have December, and I did a candy cane theme, and I really like how this spread turned out. And same thing here, TBR, wrap up. For the books I read, I filled in the little circle next to them as a mint, and I did a little candy cane border. I think it's cute. Okay, that's actually all the months. If you know your months, December's the last one, so surprise, surprise. But then I have best quotes of 2024. I did this again for 2023, and I'm planning on doing it for 2025. This is honestly one of my favorite spreads to do every year because I get to look back at all my annotations, at all the quotes I wrote down, and compile a list of all my favorites. And I have a lot of favorites, so I guess I'll read them to you. So from Powerless, we have, she's so stunning, yet so stubbornly oblivious to how the sunset behind dulls in comparison to the vibrance that is her. Also with each one, I draw a little picture to correlate to it. So like that, I drew a little sunset. This one's hard to understand if you don't know the context, but this was probably the most horrifying thing Eric could have said to him, not because it ended his life, because it didn't. He knew then that the secret for which he had sacrificed his own happiness and the happiness of another person had been trivial all along and worthless from normal people.
It's basically just saying to do what you want, because in the grand scheme of things, people don't care. It's not that deep, and that's just everything that I believe in. I talked about this in my Get Ready With Me video recently. Context is hard to understand, but basically the main character admitted to him, I think, that him and this girl dated in high school, this weird girl that everyone kind of thought was an outcast, and he secretly was in a relationship with her, but he didn't want to tell anyone because he was embarrassed. And he's just like, oh yeah, I already knew. Everybody knew that. And then he's saying this was the most horrifying thing Eric could have said, because not because it ended his life like he thought it would in high school, but because it didn't. And how everything is trivial and worthless, and how he should have just lived out his life how he wanted to without fear for what other people think, because in the grand scheme of things, nobody cared and everyone already knew.
Okay, I don't know why I went on a rant for so long, but then I have Stop Writing About Me, You First, 7 Days in June, iconic. When I Watch You Sleep, I Feel Overwhelmed That You Exist, from Beach Read. Call Us Even, Call Me Crazy, I Don't Care, Just Call Me Yours, from Reckless. This one's a bit of a spoiler, we're not gonna say that one. And then this might be my favorite romance book, but Where My Favorite Love Story, from Daydream. Also, I wrote these in cursive because I feel like it fits the quote theme. We're getting to my end of year spread, so I did these very recently. So these were my top 10 reads of 2024. Look at them. Then we have my last one of the year, my reading stats, so I'll go over these quick because I think it's fun. So the total books that I read this year was 72. My most read authors were Freida McFadden with 9 books, Stephanie Garber with 7, and Lauren Roberts with 3. Rereads, I reread Fourth Wing this year. I reread the first 2 Land of Story books. I read Heartstopper Volume 4 and 5 again, and I reread the Raven Cycle books 1 to 3. My top 3 favorites, which you kind of saw on this page, were Powerless, Reckless, and A Curse for True Love. My top 3 least favorites were Yours from the Tower, One Day in December, and The Teacher by Freida McFadden. In previous years, I've only done written out stats, but I thought it would be fun to add some little pie charts in here as well. So for the target age books that I read, which is young adult, middle grade, whatever. So I had 33 young adult, 32 adult, so very close, and then 3 middle grade. My ratings, I had 1 star, 6 2 stars, 18 3 stars, 5 3.5 stars, 19 4 stars, 6 4.5 stars, and 6 5 stars. The genres read, that's a lot to read. You can look at that. My most read genres, I guess, were romance with 17, fantasy with 14, mystery with 19, and yeah. And then the formats that I read, so I read 38 fully physically, 3 fully audio, 7 ebook, and then 24 with the audio and the physical. So that is my flip through of 2024. So those spreads are all completed, all filled out, but I have set up some of my spreads for 2025. We obviously don't have the monthly spreads yet. If you guys care, maybe I'll make a video next year showing them, but for now we just have the empty blank spreads, and I did set up for January, so I guess you can see one of my spreads. But here's my 2025 title page. I thought it was important to just kind of note that this marks the start of a new year. And again, with the vintage brown aesthetic, I just love how that looks in a journal. I stuck with that for a lot of it. So again, here's my bracket. It looks a little different because it's empty. There's no books written, but it's basically the same as the one you saw at the start and then on the other side. And my goals this year, we'll see if we reach them. I want to read 75 books. I want to read ACOTAR. I know it's really weird, and none of the others are a specific series, but that's just one that's been on my TBR for ages, and I really want to read it. I want to DNF more books that I don't like, so I don't just struggle through them if I don't like them. And then the same ones from last year, read 3 classics and read 3 nonfiction. We'll see. I want to grow my book content, which is my YouTube, my TikTok, and then I want to read more fantasy because that is the genre that I love the most, and I don't think I read enough this year. I also have this bookish bingo, which I think will be fun. So it's just a bunch of book prompts, and I can cross them out whenever I reach any of them. Different colored covers. I have some genres, read a sci-fi, read a murder mystery, and then I have more ones that are specific, read a book with Taylor Swift references, read a sad story. And then we have my 25 books to read in 2025. I think I put ones that I actually am interested in reading. I feel last year I put more random ones, but this year these are the ones that are on my radar. I really want to read them. So whenever I do, I'll probably color it in with a colored pencil or something because I used a brown highlighter. But yeah, I just made little book stacks. I don't know, it turned out cute. And then we have my anticipated releases. So this looks a little different from last year. I don't know how I perfectly flipped to that, but that one I did 4 per page, or I guess 2 per page, 4 per set of pages. This year I thought it would be easier to just visually see it all on one page. So these are some of my anticipated releases. I don't really have any that are coming out at the end of the year that I know of. I'm sure some will be announced that I can write in, but my most anticipated releases are Onyx Storm, that comes out in January very soon. Sunrise on the Reaping, that's the new Hunger Games book, comes out in March. Fearless, that's the last book in the Powerless trilogy. Then we have my series tracker again. So I made a separate one because the series that I put last year just aren't ones that I really want to continue with, other than the Empyrean and Powerless. But these ones I have not started yet, so these are just some that I'm hoping to read this year. And then I left lots of empty room, as well as, did I leave another page? I did not. I thought I left another page, but I guess this is what we're working with. Obviously I can read more series and just not put them here. But then this is my books read shelf. But a lot of YouTubers or TikTokers that I watch who make book journal content do this, where every time they read a book, they write the title and then they color it in with a star rating, or sometimes they do the format. So I've never done this before. We'll see if I like it. This is kind of a redo or a spin on the, the square ones. I don't know, this is just so tedious to make. I'd rather just draw a fun pretty little bookshelf than draw all those squares and probably mess up again like I did last year. So I think it'll be fun. And then I put a little color coding key on the side with some different highlighters. Then we have my reading log. I'm not in love with how this turned out at all, but it's kind of too late to redo it. I don't know. Like, I just drew the lines really unevenly. Like, this is so big, and then, like, this one is so tiny. I have my books per month. Oh, this is kind of confusing because you can't see how it's gonna look, but basically I did this a couple years back in a different book journal, not in this one, but I'll just draw a book stack. So if I read 7 books in January, there will be 7 books in a stack drawn here. Sometimes I'll put them like different directions, like some standing up, some laid down. You'll see if I just show this at the end of the year. My DNFs page right now is empty, but I'm gonna do the graveyard thing again with that little stencil. We have my hauled. This is very similar. I just picked a different color. Last year I did teal. This year I did yellow. These are where I'll write all the books that I buy or receive each month. But this is my January spread, and I'm currently obsessed with Bridgerton. So I did a Bridgerton theme. This is the Bridgerton font, a bunch of pictures from the show, Lady Whistledown, if you know, you know. And then here's my TBR and my wrap-up, which is currently empty, obviously, because I haven't filled it out because it's till the beginning of January. But yeah, these are some books that are my TBR. But I think that concludes my flip through. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really enjoyed making it, so I hope you enjoyed watching it and seeing how I do my book journal. Like I said, everyone does it differently, but this is how I personally do mine, and will continue to do so for the foreseeable future because it's just something that I love to do. It's just a fun little hobby, and if you don't have a book journal for yourself but you like to read, I highly recommend that you start one. Or if you don't like to read, just start a bullet journal. It's so much fun. You can make it like literally whatever you want it to be. This is just how I do mine personally. But hopefully you could take some inspiration from this video, or at least find some entertainment. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!